The Indian government has announced one of the most significant changes to the regulation of foreign-funded NGOs in recent years. Organizations receiving money from abroad will now face stricter disclosure requirements, tighter spending rules, and greater scrutiny over how foreign contributions are used. NGOs will have to declare everything from their social media accounts to their exact area of operation. Foreign nationals will find it harder to occupy key positions here, and organizations seeking foreign funds will face new compliance requirements before receiving or spending the money. The government says the objective is greater transparency and accountability. But what exactly has changed? Let's take you through that. And why do these new rules really matter? To understand the changes, we first need to understand the law that's involved. The amendments have been made under the Foreign Contribution Regulation Act, the FCRA, better known as that acronym. And this is the law that governs how NGOs, charitable organizations, trusts and associations receive and utilize foreign funds here back at home in the country. Successive governments have argued that foreign contributions must be monitored carefully because they can influence social, economic, religious and developmental activities inside the country. The latest amendments are designed to tighten that very oversight, and the biggest change concerns transparency. Under the new rules, NGOs seeking FCRA registration or renewal will have to provide significantly more information than before. They will now be required to declare their social media accounts, specify their exact objectives, and identify the states and union territories where they intend to operate. In other words, organizations will no longer be able to seek a broad registration and later expand activities without additional approvals. The government has also introduced a new framework that requires organizations to choose their activities from a predefined list. These categories include religious, educational, cultural, economic, and social activities. And the objective, according to the amendments, is to ensure that foreign contributions are used only for the purposes for which permissions has been granted. If an NGO wants to add a new objective or expand into, let's say, another state, it will now require prior government approval. That represents a significant shift from earlier arrangements. Another major change relates to foreign nationals. The amendment rules makes it clear that organizations with foreign nationals in key management positions will ordinarily not be eligible for FCRA registration or prior permission. There is also an exception. The government can allow such appointments in specific cases, but the default position has become much stricter than before. The rules also tighten the way foreign funds can, in fact, be spent. And that release will be subject to field verification. The government has also introduced what it calls a reasonable activity requirement. To renew registration or avoid cancellation, an organization must have spent at least 10 lakh rupees or of foreign contributions over the previous 2 financial years on its approved activities. And the amendments also strengthen donor disclosure requirements. If these funds are in fact routed through intermediary mechanisms or donor advised funds, organizations may now have to disclose the original source of the money. So all of this is happening in that new amendment for the FCRA. This means accountability requirements will extend to a much wider group of people within the organizations and these NGOs. And one of the most closely watched provisions relates to religious activities. The amended rules continue to permit a broad range of faith-based activities. These include maintenance of places of worship, religious education, preservation of scriptures, community kitchens, pilgrim facilities, faith-based cultural programs. The rules, however, repeatedly make one distinction. Foreign-funded activities involving proselytization or religious conversion remain outside the permissible framework. Activities such as religious education, documentation of faith traditions, and preservation of indigenous belief systems are allowed only when they do not involve this very setup. Critics, however, may view the rules as increasing compliance burdens on organizations working across multiple states and sectors. Either way, the changes mark a significant tightening of the regulatory framework governing foreign contributions in our country.